So I'm going to be talking about the Haitian Revolution. Haiti is an island in the Caribbean, but before it became independent in 1804, it was a colony that was ruled over by France, and it was called Saint Domingue. Although it was not independent, it was still extremely rich. In fact, it was the richest colony in the world, producing 40% of the world's sugar and half of the world's coffee. During this time period, 90% of the people living in Saint Domingue were enslaved. And slave life was brutal, extremely brutal. There was a 50% mortality rate after just 1 year of being a slave. And financially, it made more sense for slave owners but to work their slaves to death and then replace them than any other method. So, at this time, there were 4 social classes, and at the top of the classes were the Grands Blancs, and these were the rich whites. Below them were the Petits Blancs, which were the poor whites, and the Gens de couleur libre, which were the free people of color, and then the slaves. And all these different social classes felt oppressed in different ways. The Grands Blancs felt oppressed because they were not represented in the French government. The Petits Blancs felt oppressed because they weren't treated equally to the Grands Blancs, and they thought that they should be treated above the Gens de couleur libre because white was white. The Gens de couleur libre felt oppressed because they weren't being treated equally to the Grands Blancs, and they thought money is money is what matters, and that we have it, so we should be treated above the Grands Blancs no matter our race. And the enslaved people felt oppressed, obviously, because they weren't treated well at all and were constantly killed off. So, the revolution began when France passed the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen, otherwise known as the Doro-Mac. And this was proclaimed in 1789. The document claimed that all men are born and remain equal in rights, and this caused each social class to interpret it differently. The enslaved people had heard a rumor from the king that they had been freed because they thought that this meant that everyone was equal. The Gens de couleur libre thought that this means that they would be treated equally to the Grands Blancs and above the Petits Blancs because they had money. The Petits Blancs thought that they would be treated equally to the Grands Blancs because white was white, and the Grands Blancs thought that they would have a say in government. So, from 1791 to 1804, there were a series of rebellions, 1804 being the year that Haiti became independent. And these rebellions were between enslaved people and their slave owners and Gens de couleur libre, and basically the free people of color and the enslaved people against the Petits Blancs and the Grands Blancs. Along with this, Haiti's economy completely crashed. This was because the plantations that were worked on by the enslaved people to make their goods like coffee and sugar were not being worked on anymore because the slaves were in power. And when Haiti got its independence from France, many other countries signed an embargo with France that said that they refused to buy any goods from Haiti, so the entire economy crashed. France also said that in exchange for their independence, they would have to pay $40 billion plus interest, and Haiti just finished paying that off in 1947, and to do that, they had to borrow more money from France. So they are still extremely in debt to France. The French and Haitian revolutions both had different goals, but ultimately the same goal, which was to accomplish equality. They both ultimately supported power to the people. Haiti wanted to free enslaved people and make Haiti independent, and in the French Revolution, the common citizens lost all respect for their nobility and the royals and believed that they should have as much say in the government and what happens in their country as the people in power. The Haitian Revolution could be considered both a success and a failure. It was most definitely a success because it accomplished everything that it needed to. The Haitian Revolution began because the Haitians wanted to make slavery illegal and make Haiti independent, and it accomplished that. But it could also be considered a huge failure because of the state that Haiti's in right now. Haiti is now the poorest country on the Western Hemisphere, with 58.6% of Haitians living under the global poverty line and 24.7% of Haitians living under the extreme poverty line. Haiti's also in extreme debt to France. Some similarities between the Haitian Revolution and modern day would be that there are still millions and millions of slaves living around the world, and some countries don't allow as much representation in the government for common citizens, such as North Korea. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed.